if there was some false expectations set throughout this process, that staff wasn't going to be listening to what your concerns are, I apologize. If you guys feel as though the city isn't listening to you, and that's out there, I want to tell you that I apologize for it, because we hear you. You know, we hear you loud and clear. I can tell you that we hear you from certainly this building all the way over to the other building across the parking lot. The city council hears you. The city certainly hears what your needs and desires are for facilities in Laguna Ridge. And it's important too. It's important because, you know, you get one shot at this thing. And, you know, it really is, in many ways, about competition for scarce resources. But it's important. The dialogue is important. And I also apologize if there was sort of presumption that we were going to move forward with something that would limit our council's ability to, you know, really articulate what their wants and desires are too out of the parts of Laguna Ridge. So the last thing we wanted to do was kind of tie the council's hands and say this is going to be the sale. So if that was a presumption and that was what we were working on, you know, I apologize for that. That's not the direction that we've been going. But that being said, we heard a lot from a lot of different folks and a lot of different venues. You know, some people attended some meetings, some people didn't attend other meetings, some people came here, some people came there. But we got all the input, and that's what's really the important part.
And I think that's what this park ordinance is going to do. Because one of the things the park commission is going to do right off the bat is look at this holistically and determine where those facilities need to go.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Who's going to be on this commission?
I don't know that at all.
How did you become part of that?
Once the ordinance gets adopted Wednesday night, it's going to have inside the resolution the formation of the commission. After that, the council will likely solicit applications and from the community to sign up or maybe appoint people. I'm not sure of the exact process of how to get there.
But now what I think I hear you saying, because I've got both ears open, is that you want us to now understand that you are not only going to take forward to the council our concerns, but in the first phase of the Laguna Ridge project, you are going to bring back that data based on what he gave about the statistics of 50,000 students here at national, blah, blah. Bring back that data to the government saying, we have no choice but to pay attention to what they're saying. So we're not going to bring you the plan yet because we want you to adopt that they've got to be included. Then we're going to go back to the drawing table and find out where in the first phase, not the second, that something that we want, that what we want is going to be realized. But you can't take it there unless you convince us, because you didn't bring the maps today, that you're going to do that on our behalf. So what I'm thinking I'm hearing you say is that you want us to believe, to throw out the old stuff, and to now say, I didn't show up with the map, but I'm telling you folks, we now know we cannot get away from putting your interests in front of the government. So that's what we're going to do. The next time this is brought up, we're going to put that interest in front of the government. By this time, not the 27th, because it's not going to be there, but when it comes forward, there won't be any map forward without a map that's representing our BMX skaters' idea too, to go into the first phase, in the first phase of Laguna Ridge. Is that right?
That's very good. And a lot of that's right. A lot of that is accurate in terms of exactly how we're going to move forward from this point on. I want to say that, you know, ultimately, guys, I'm your voice. And that's who I am. I don't sit on that dais. So I couldn't even sit here with all of assurances and say there's going to be soccer fields there. Because I don't know. But what I do know is that I can go forward and I can represent what your needs are to that city council, to those people that put those features in their funds. And you're absolutely right. We need to be, and I'm not talking subsequent phases, we need to say, hey, you know, there's a great need here. And we heard that great need. And we're talking phase one where all of these facilities will be developed. How will that look? How will we attempt to balance the great number of deficiencies that we have in this community now? How will we attempt to balance as many of those needs as we can? Some of these are going to fall off the list. You got to trust that I can represent and articulate kind of what not only your needs are, but everyone's needs. And I don't know. I'm not.
Sir, your
I'm
vibes are
not.
all friendly, but
I'm
they're
not trying to be
true.
glib.
They're not true. It's not coming from your heart. Although you're trying really hard, you're not representing these kids.
I appreciate that. Maybe when we
I'd
get.
love to see you
Maybe when we
prove
get in
me
front of
wrong.
city council.
I'd love to see you prove me wrong.
Yeah, maybe when we get in front of city council and I articulate your group's needs, that'll come through. But yeah, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do that. Let's go here. The purpose of the meetings and the workshops, guys, and I think that's where we really get caught up in the process. And let me clarify that. The purpose of those workshops wasn't to develop something that was going to say, okay, council, this is it. This is the vision. This is what we saw. This is everything the community wants. The purpose of the workshop was to go out and hear from the community, from all segments of the community, on what their issues and relative needs are. And to identify deficiencies within those communities and bring all those items back to the city council and say, okay, council, here's what the needs of the community are, and here's how we're going to try and attempt to balance it. What do you think? So it wasn't meant to tie the city council's hands. And in terms of you guys not being heard, I can't see how you would think that we're not listening to you.
Let's go back. Now there's a master plan, correct? Because I had asked you 2 workshops ago that there would be only citizen input on the one that we're now throwing out, right? So now there's a master plan. So when this commission, Parks and Recs Commission, comes out, there will be a huge master plan. This council's going, I've got it right here. The council's going to elect commissioners, and there's going to be citizen input to everything that everybody wants, including what these children deserve. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, now, but I want to make sure that, so 2 months of work and all those fancy ads that we paid bloody fortune for are now out the door because we went to Catch-22 Plan B, which is now a Department of Parks and Recs, and I cannot help believe that that was formed because all of us came together with a voice, and now we have to sidestep and backpedal and say, okay, now we better have a director of Parks and Rec. And so it just smells funny, Troy.
And can we also advise that we'd like to be included in the process of all the parks in the first phase?
Absolutely.
Not just one, because if we take one, we may only get one.
Right.
If we let them know that we want to be included in all of them, if what's humanly possible,
Absolutely.
in that first phase, not the second.
Not the second phase. Correct. Go to the city council. My job is to go to the city council and go, hey, council, this is what you heard. We have a very strong contingent of folks that want a BMX facility. We have a very strong contingent of folks that want skate parks. I tell them tonight saying, you know what, guys, I apologize for not bringing a plan here tonight. It's just flat out not ready. And that's our fault, and it's not done. So we apologize for that. We recognize that.